probably going to be word for word what's in that video essay, but, like, the first influence can be found literally at the beginning with the prologue being told through the film reels, the Universal Monster and Hammer horror films. And then... You floating bitch. Okay. Well, this has been a long time coming. This has been... Well... Anyone who recognizes my voice is probably going to be confused as to why I'm recording here. And for anyone who doesn't know me at all, I'm Oneye Season 3D, though I also go by Jumper Cables on Hey Listen Radio. Found up here, which is where you would normally be able to find really any video I do. Primarily, Let's Plays is what I did on YouTube. And then I fell off. I fell off for a while. I've been planning to come back. The problem is, what I want to do in order to come back is going to require a bit of a prep time. Or I'll just go ahead and give you the inside baseball. I wanted to get some sort of on-screen assets for the characters involved, but I don't have the money to commission some art yet, and I don't draw well enough to do it myself. But I got tired of, like, waiting or kind of, like, endeavoring to do that before I started doing anything. I've been, like, sort of creatively withering. I gotta do something. And, you know, there's other stuff I can do, but, you know, kind of like writing, for example, that's a lot of time spent in a vacuum before you can really share with the world what you're doing. And I've got to cop to some ego in saying that some of what I want is that sort of... I mean, there's the expression that comes in creating, but then I kind of also want the potential feedback. I just kind of want that feeling of putting the thing out there. And stuff like streaming and Let's Plays was really good for that immediate release, you know? Anyway, I chose Castlevania in particular so I could also, I guess, do a bit more expressing. One of the things I wanted to put up, I should say, once I finally got back to Hey Listen Radio, is I kind of wanted to start doing like long-form video essay type deals. And one of them was about Castlevania, specifically why I have extremely mixed feelings about the animated series. Hence, we're playing Castlevania 3. Well, we'll play Castlevania 3 for a minute, and then I might switch to Akamoji Dracula 3, because I think that's easier. You know, maybe I should do that now. Or not? Where's the button? Oh, there's the button. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and switch to Nihongo. Nihongo wakarimasen. But it's still in English. Wrong button. Wrong button again. Don't laugh at me. I'm confused. Yeah, one and I share an E. That's how my name is spelled. It's a proper noun. Don't give me any shit about spelling. Anyway. So, I actually used that on a test, as kind of a low-key test on Twitch. If anyone bitches about my name, I stop watching their stream 2 seconds after immediately. Well, that's not true. If they express some confusion, that are otherwise like whatever, like, oh, that's spelled kind of weird. That's fine. It's when they like get indignant or like way too matter of fact, like, oh, you spelled that wrong. Like, it's a name. It's a made up name for the internet to boot. How I spell it is how it's spelled. But anyway, minor tangent. Let's get back to the meat and potatoes, which is issues with the Castlevania animated series. And let's be clear, I am striking while the iron is ice cold. I'm not going to reshape the metal so much as crack it, warp it, freeze it, and destroy it for an audience of no one, so, you know, it doesn't really matter. You stanky bitch! Anyway. So, a little perplexed as to how to start this. I should be clear that I ultimately like it. God, jeez. I ultimately like the series overall, but my enjoyment kind of, I want to say it kind of grows with each season, but I am probably the most conflicted about Season 2. And to a lesser extent, I guess least favorite to favorite would be Season 2, Season 1, Season 3, then Season 4. And a lot of that just kind of comes with the, some of it comes with the focus on action. And some of it is has to do with subject matter. I think the biggest thing for me, and it really kind of like figuring out why I felt like this gave me some insight as to like what Castlevania was really about, in that it felt like Castlevania, but it didn't feel like my Castlevania. If that makes any kind of sense. And I think the reason for that involves you going into the influences of Castlevania. It has two primary influences, at least from where I'm seeing. And some of what I'm saying, it's probably going to be word for word what's in that video essay, but like, the first influence can be found literally at the beginning with the prologue being told through the film reels, the Universal Monster and Hammer horror films. And then, you floating bitch. Anyway. And the second set of influences can be found at the end, specifically when you see the castle sinking into the ground. And I think just some of the super-powered antics of Dracula while you're fighting him. But the two major influences, the Hammer horror and Universal Monster films, and an anime from 1985 called Vampire Hunter D. And while both influences remain strong as the games play out, I feel like the sort of the anime influence of D started to outshine the Hammer horror influences, which were probably more present here. I feel like the focus in the Netflix series is more so on this notion of grounded realism you'd find in those films, as opposed to the over-the-top fantastical anime battles of Vampire Hunter D. And I guess the over-the-top fantastical anime battles are part of what I liked, but there was also a gleeful tonal dissonance with something like Vampire Hunter D, where like you're just having a good-ass time watching it, but when you look at the actual subject matter, it's all really kind of bleak and dire. Like, everyone's being subjected to bad shit. Heroes, anti-heroes, even the villains are kind of going through a rough time. Like, Count Magnus is the only one not seeming to have a bad time until the end of the film. Shit. I'll put a warning. I'm sitting here like, oh shit, I should have said there'd be spoilers. I have to put it at the front of the video. You'll have seen it. It's cool. It's cool. Anyway. Yeah, no, like, everyone's going in on trauma. They're having a bad time. They're being hunted and all kinds of other things by vampires and monsters and people who can warp space and time and throwing bladed boomerangs and weird underground snake ladies. But I guess that was kind of it. Like, not every time I finished. Like, I felt pretty good by the time you get to the end of the first Castlevania. But 2 and 3, I always finish those bummed out, as you're kind of supposed to. You're not really looking at, like, happy endings here. But, like, they did everything they were supposed to do. They're well written, they serve a purpose, and they, like, follow a kind of, like, normal functionality or something. I'm not completely sure what I'm trying to say here. The point is, it's like, they're well written, they just weren't what I wanted. And it bummed me out to kind of, like, come out of something Castlevania related bummed out, because I associate Castlevania with a fun time. Even though, ultimately, it's like a dark fantasy series, and shit's gonna be bleak. The other, issue I had is I kind of have to put at the, head of the... I can't remember who the writer is. Damn it! I want to say I read on Wikipedia the writer of the series is like a staunch-ass atheist. And I'm not an atheist, I'm kind of agnostic, though that's the sum of my parts rather than the whole. I'm definitely, if atheism is one extreme and being religious is the other, then I'm closer to religious than atheist. Let's put it that way. And I'm also dead. Anyway, the anti-theistic themes of Castlevania, specifically early on, is really off considering, well, it just kind of flies in the face of the lore, and not just the lore of the game, some of its own established lore, even. Like, shit! Shit! Why you climb up here with me? Oh, I got your ass now. What the? Eat it. Okay, anyway. Well, for example, they start off trying to indicate that there isn't really any... The only power within the church is power that they enforce through violence. There's no, like, holy power going on. They don't really do anything about Dracula. They don't know what to do about Dracula. They know he's there. They write him off as evil and stuff, but they don't... You know, there's no exorcisms. There's no, like, power to, like, sanctify the land, keep demons out, nothing like that. It's all kind of treated... Oh shit, I don't know which way I'm going to go up. I hope up's the way I need to go. Because I want Grant. Yes! Clockwork, this song is so good! I think there's a musician, music person, creator, did a cover of this. Pretubator or something like that. And it's sick as hell. But anyway... The okay, I gotta try not to focus on the music. Anyway, drinking game out of how many times to say anyway, but the anti-theistic themes feel weird in Castlevania. Like, I watched a video about True Detective on Wisecrack. I don't remember if there was a proper term for this, but they talked about how the real sort of like message, moral, what have you, that they wanted to impart was the bleak and nihilistic ideology of the character of Rust Cole, basically thinking humans just need to do what I just did and take themselves out. Jesus. Yeah. That ultimately humans are just this huge blight on the planet, and the best thing that we can do is just remove ourselves from the equation altogether. Please don't make a counteractive video essay if I'm remembering this wrong. But the point wasn't the motivation exactly, but that the only way to really get away with it was to, spend as much time as possible fixating or like focusing, telling that story, telling that narrative, expounding on that message, and then completely invalidating it in the last second, specifically in a way that seems ridiculous enough that people might write off that ending, that change, that warp, in favor of holding to what was expounded upon prior. It's kind of like how you get away with talking about risque or taboo subjects on TV, and talking about these things in the public space is to say, oh no, but it's okay, it's not real though. No, but that's bad. That's bad. We don't do that. You spend half an hour talking about why maybe we ought to. I don't know. I don't even want to risk talking about something taboo because I don't want to be taken seriously in that regard. But well, case in point, you got Rust Cole and True Detective talking about humans gotta just we're a fucking blight. We gotta remove ourselves from the equation, and then he. Spoiler warning's already there, so he turns around, like very last minute, starts talking about light versus dark or something like that. And folks can just write it off, I guess, is the point, or the idea. That's what it felt like happened in Castlevania. It felt like they were trying to go in on this idea that, I don't know, there's no God, the church just made it up to obtain and hold power, and this guy you're writing off as satanic is actually just a man of science, and science is the truth, the way, and the... I mean, I'm not a big fan of science being treated as the antithesis of religion. They're not connected. But anyway. God, the sprite work is beautiful. They do that in Season 1. Fuck! Still not used to navigating the stairs. Anyway, they do that in Season 1, where you have everyone kind of like... You have the church basically doing nothing but being like effing criminal-ass hitmen. And then, the very last minute, Trevor's like, okay, do we have someone from an actual church? Can they sanctify this water? And this guy's like, I'm from a church. And then he turns the water holy, and Trevor's just like, oh, I'll be damned. I didn't think that was going to work. And it's like, okay, hold up. If you didn't think it was going to work, then why'd you call for the guy to begin with? It felt like that sort of thing. Something kind of similar happens in Season 2, where they want Carmilla to be this sort of like, almost like a voice for feminism or something. Like she's like calling all of these characters man-children and saying they're being like immature and shitty and the women are furious. But then at the very last minute, they're like, okay, we still need her to be a villain in Season 3, so she just turns around and starts abusing the man-child for no reason other than she's like mean-spirited and hateful all of a sudden, even though she's supposed to be the champion of women by enacting the sort of abuses that... Anyway. Like, in that regard, it would have been better if they just stayed consistent. Like, made her... Like, if she needed to take Hector for some purpose, maybe at the very least just have her be less gleeful about it, have her being less touchy-feely with him over the course of Season 2. Because she's getting real grabby with him as that's going on, and that's while she's supposed to be this champion of women. And then she's sort of on it in Season 3, just more so championing her and her friends. And I mean, there's some stuff about, oh yeah, women will rule. That'll be better than the horse shit we had before, and based on her backstory, that would be true. Damn it! But she's also just like maliciously abusing Hector the entire time. Like everyone is, and they're talking to him like he's a goddamn animal. And then let's not even get started on the bit with the Moe Blob vampire working with them. Like it really bothered me the ending they gave her in Season 4, considering she's like everything about that relationship they're in just seems like creepy and abusive. Anyway, it's like it just felt too much. There were too many instances where it felt like the writer, maybe the director, had up. Fuck me. Well, let's just say the creative forces in Castlevania, it felt too much like they wanted to have it their way and change the story up and focus on like really heavy, really some serious issues, some issues they felt passionate about, which it bothers me a little that they took Castlevania and decided to use it for that reason, but you know, artist's prerogative and whatnot. Like I kind of like, I see myself as something of an artist, so I kind of like, I can understand the need to kind of let them go unfettered. You know, they've got something they want to express. They got something they want to say. We gotta let them say it. We don't necessarily have to agree with it, like it, or even participate in it. But I want them to have the freedom to say the stuff, right? Just like, at the same time, I don't want to give a platform to people whose expression is, I hate insert race, gender orientation, whatever here. Black, white, Asian, gay, straight, whatever. Just can we just be nice to each other? But it bothers me that kind of like Castlevania got used as the vehicle to talk about issues with religion when it features characters wielding holy power. Like right now, I'm literally going to throw holy water at this skeleton right here, and it killed it. The Belmonts are supposed to be able to use those sub-weapons. They're supposed to wield holy power, right? I mean, Trevor is confused that the holy water worked, but he wields a, what was the term they were using? A consecrated whip? Consecrated with what? By what? For what? Where do you think the undead killing properties of the vampire killer and Morningstar whip come from? And, you know, they would keep kind of going back and forth on it. Like, you have, you know, they make it clear, no. Dracula died and he went to hell. It's clearly not hell, like he's not burning and suffering. He's just kind of chilling with his wife. And you have the conversation with the, looked like a skeleton man and my spirit animal, Isaac. Specifically, Isaac in the Netflix series is my spirit Video game Isaac is a whole other creature. Kind of like the difference between the two of them is like, I like both, to be clear. I like that over-the-top, hyper flamboyantly evil Isaac from Curse of Darkness, but like I said, this version of Isaac is literally my like. He felt like an on-screen avatar for me. He's just shit. Anyway, as I suffer with some misanthropy myself, but it's not because I like it or am in any way a hateful creature. It's just I try to like people and see the best in them, and then I get shown the worst. But he's decidedly more. He's a character you take way more serious, and you know, important things get said through him. And I guess that's one instance where they kind of like used Castlevania as a vehicle for something where I actually liked it, just because it was subject matter that spoke to me. So maybe if I had like notions of like anti-theistic ideology, or was a bit angrier about the mistreatment of women in America, then maybe these things wouldn't bother me as much. But then it also just kind of bothers me as a fan. Obviously, there's the one instance where I'm getting confused by the buttons. There's the one instance with Isaac where I actually enjoyed the change they made. But I guess that one also, it didn't really... I guess it sort of got in the way of the fun I would have had with a crazy over-the-top villain like Isaac in Curse of Darkness. But I got something in exchange I wanted. I'm not trying to, like, invalidate my own opinion here. I'm just trying to be fair. But, you know, the same didn't happen elsewhere. I didn't see, you know, I didn't really get to see Trevor doing crazy stuff like he does in the, not so much in these games, his moveset's pretty basic, but like the way they depict him in Curse of Darkness, or the, what was the name of that Wii fighting game they did for it? Same thing, where he's doing like super powered up attacks, utilizing holy magic, and that's it. Lore-wise, it wouldn't make sense for him not to have holy power, because the sort of like real arbiter of the castle isn't even Dracula so much as Death. Death guards Dracula, and he can't be harmed by anything that isn't high-level light or high-level dark magic. Dracula's dark magic is supreme seemingly among the denizens of the night. And the Belmont's holy magic is supreme amongst vampire hunters. God damn, these Medusa heads. Impossible. Oh, you just don't even fight them. Just outrun them. That's all you can do. All you can do is try to outmaneuver them. No. Ass. Ugh. Fuck. And here I thought this version would be easier. Let's take one more pass at it. See if we can get to Grant. But you know, Death showing up in the game and that fight Trevor has with him was maybe my favorite part of the show. But even then, they kind of go back to that sort of back and forth bit where he gets what is supposed to be the cross sub-weapon, and then offers this explanation that, oh no, it's, well, he doesn't say it's not the, I don't know if he denies that it's the holy it's the holy symbol, and he sort of like holy, like power associated with the holy symbols that's screwing up vampires and undead creatures. He offers his explanation where it's like something about the the geometry of the cross shape screws with the perception of like undead creatures or maybe just vampires. Like they can't look at a cross without getting squigged out because their brains can't process them properly or something like that. Like they kind of go back to like this notion that, oh no, it's just there's scientific explanations for why this is. There's no magic. And they kind of tone down the power level of Dracula because of it. Now, this isn't completely off base because among the many skill sets Dracula has, one of them was alchemy, and depending upon how far you want to go into game lore, the source of his power is alchemy. Depending upon how you want to look at it, they either retconned it into him being like the inverse of God, or he evolved to that point over time with those alchemic agents sort of being the base of his power. Like maybe the Chaos Dimension formed from those two, the Ebony and Crimson Stones. But, whatever. I forgot what my point was. Yeah, they would just kind of keep wanting to jump back to the more classic notions associated with Castlevania. When, I don't know if it was like when it seemed convenient. I guess when it seemed convenient. When it got to the point where they'd have to kind of rewrite the story entirely, it would kind of go back to it, or they jump back to it so they could get away with the time they spent espousing an ideology that would probably get them in trouble. Gotcha. Shit. Oh, I accidentally used the... Oh, shit, I forgot I had the clock. Oh, why haven't I been using that? That's what I need here. Oh my god, I am dumb. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm dumb as hell. I am dumb as shit. So, if we get the clock again, I need to make better use of it. I mean, there was also the element of just kind of a lack of the classic elements. Case in point, like, listen to this good-ass music we're playing. We had one instance where why can't I hit this thing? Whatever, I don't need it. Oh, whoa, that could have been bad. Like, we got Bloody Tears one time during the big fight in Season 2, my favorite part of Season 2. But we got, no other music. And there's... And I guess they wanted it to be, like, serious. Like, some of that music sounds very much like... very techno-y, I guess. And I can kind of get it. Like, they were using, those, the fucking Nintendo sound... Using this Nintendo sound chip to try to replicate a classical score. And the sort of like chip-tuny goodness also ended up sounding like techno to some of the future creators in Castlevania. And both are enjoyed. They're both, both approaches are really good and they have their fun. And in some instances, like there's quite a few songs in Symphony of the Night that either feature elements of both, or like I think Symphony of the Night leans a bit more into the classical. Whereas, like, the PS2 games had a lot of songs in them that felt like they were more techno-y. And I'll say that it's sort of like tonally dissonant. As tonally dissonant as the techno songs can seem, they really amp you up when you're in combat, and there's a lot of combat in those games. Oof! I didn't fall off. Shit. Fuck you. But, I mean, I kind of wish they would have just kind of leaned into the classical and used some more of the old music, because the scene where you got the big flaming Dracula, like, there's no reason why the scene with the big flaming Dracula head yelling at the people isn't scored by Dance of Illusions, which is the song that plays when you fight Dracula. Because that song, while having this sort of like having all the steez you'd want from, like, it's got the menace to it in spite of sounding like a very graceful piece of classical music. Like, it sounds like something bad is coming for you. Which is exactly what's happening, because he's basically telling him, you got 1 year to get the hell out of town before I kill all of you. And it's Dracula's theme. Likewise, I don't know, it would have been cool to hear Abandoned Castle or Beginning, or obviously Vampire Killer or Clockwork, which, and there's another one, characters that got left out. We didn't get Death. I almost had it. We didn't get Death till the end, and even then, he's kind of like a weird death-eating creature that was getting fat as hell off of Dracula's attempted genocide. It was like, no, I want more, I'm hungry. Still cool, though. Still gave him the... In spite of the fact that they were trying to ground things a bit, he still had the gravitas that I was hoping for. I'd have liked to see Saint Germain, though. But, no Grant. There was something about the... Damn it. Something about the... I can't remember. I'd have to... And I'm gonna go back and rewatch it when I finally do the right and proper video essay. I can't remember. I remember there was something about that city that Alucard saved that made me think about Grant. And I don't remember what it was. So maybe there was something there and I'm just not recalling it. But I can't help but have the sneaking suspicion that Grant was left out because his name was spelled Dynasty. like literally that was it. Like the creator was like, people are gonna laugh if they put him in here. And it's like, just call him Grant Dynasty. If that's the issue. I like the full crew. It's either that, or maybe they didn't really play Castlevania 3, and what they played was what's the term? What was the name of the character? The alternate mode in effing Dawn of Sorrow, where you switch Julius. That's it, the Julius mode, where you can switch between Julius, Yoko, and Arikar. I almost said Arikado. So that's what Yoko says when you switch to him. She says Arikado, which is also kind of his name. It's the name. When I think he's pretending to be Japanese. He calls himself Genya Arikado. But you can switch between the three of them, and there isn't a Grant equivalent, though. I think his name was Hammer, the merchant in Aria, and maybe Donosaro too? The military guy, he was supposed to fill that space. But they didn't have time to put him in. Would have been cool. But yeah, absolutely no Grant. And that was a bit disappointing to me. Now, I didn't really play Castlevania 3 back in the day. I didn't get into Castlevania until Symphony of the Night. So my first real experience with Grant, outside of just being an idea, was fighting his doppelganger in Symphony of the Night, and then later when they put him into that fighting game with the weird sort of mummy aesthetic. Damn it! I'm trying to hit the watch. Anyway, and specifically, I think what just because I've got what I call it a condition, lore brain. Damn it! Get up those stairs. Damn it! Part of the problem is when I go to use the sub-weapon, he starts climbing the stairs. So this isn't going to make things as easier as I thought. But, yeah, specifically, Grant in the fighting game. I mean, he's a guy who specializes in throwing and wielding knives. And then his special, hyper, what have you, he's the one that does 1,000 knives, 1,000 blades. And I can't remember if they list that as a dynasty technique in Portrait of Ruin. It should be. I really like the idea that he's the one who came up with that, and then just kind of showed it to his buddies afterwards. Like, here you go. Here you fuck around, you do some weird finagling with space-time here, and now you can infinitely duplicate knives for a small amount of time, and just throw them all over the place, which is fuck you, Medusa. Which in and of itself is probably a nod to JoJo with the fucking Dio throwing the blades, vampires and knife throwing. That's just a guess. Anyway, I think I'll give this one more shot. Probably just call it, because I think that's all I got to say without just full-on trying to recreate my video essay, or future video essay. Yeah, I think we're good. Anyway, thank you as always for watching, and have a good day.